Low self-esteem or high brainwashing? Abuse victims supposedly put up with unequal situations because they have low self-esteem and accept that they deserve less. I propose that victims almost always resist being treated unfairly and that they are conditioned not to notice the lopsidedness in their relationships. Abusers will often believably promise to reciprocate in the future. A woman may buy her partner a birthday gift and then be surprised to find nothing from him when hers rolls around. There may be no way to determine ahead of time that he's lying, and if she voices suspicion to family and friends, the victim will be told that she's reading into things or sabotaging her partnership. Sometimes there are just no warning signs. Toxic partners will create reasonable sounding justifications for why they cannot reciprocate, such as depression, work commitment, mental illness, which leave the victim unable to determine if their partner is just bad or a genuine sufferer of these problems. If a person has been made to believe that they become attached too quickly, they may view their partner's lesser involvement as normal and healthy and theirs as too much, explaining their partner's relative lack of effort. Situations can be made to look equal when they're not. I work outside the house while you stay home with the kids may look reasonable on the surface until you remember that work employees can only be made to labor for a certain amount of hours legally and must be compensated through pay, while stay-at-home housewives or house husbands have no such guarantee, while the chores can be never-ending, with no codes dictating that the job can only be so difficult or dangerous. Some batterers or selfish individuals claim to be as badly hurt by your behaviors as you are by theirs, and only upon careful examination do you notice that your behaviors are defensive and theirs offensive. Even when unequal situations are impossible to hide, abusers create explanations that work because they could very easily be legitimate and do occur in some healthy relationships. For example, a partner may claim depression causes him to be unable to visit you as often as you visit him. He may also lash out when you try to get him to reciprocate, leaving you to think that you did something hurtful or wrong. You cannot simply always tell if these claims are genuine until it's too late. Someone who takes up the extra slack in this case wouldn't be doing so because they are self-negating, but because disabled people do actually need more care than others. Also, they expect the continuation of the relationship to be the reward. The victims do, that is. If you want to stay in the relationship, you would do the extra work, not as charity, but as a course of action to keep the relationship continuing, the relationship being something that you enjoy yourself. Regarding doing extra work, most people become parents, and it then becomes a necessity that one gives more than one receives. The ability to give more doesn't mean self-negation or hating oneself. Giving has to do with how you feel about the receiver, not how you feel about yourself. Toxic people and their minions in the self-help and psychiatry industries love to equate giving with self-hatred because, 1, they can paint their own lack of giving as normal and yours is too much. 2, they can blame you for supposedly having relational habits that invite their abuse. And 3, they like to feel that any kind of unselfish behavior is a punishment on them. There's no such thing as neutral in a relationship. Some amount of sacrifice is required in order to ensure that the partners are both there out of love and not because it's a profitable arrangement. The same could be true of your interactions with mankind in general, actually. Giving is less about how much the other person receives and more about the giver being a loving person. If someone doesn't give, how do you know they love? Relationships do not have a neutral setting. Either you're both giving or it is a dud. This becomes ultimately true when speaking about the arrival of a child, something the vast majority of romantic relationships lead to. A child either receives more than it gives or it dies. There is no neutral. The same is true on some level of a partnership. In fact, one could say that the courtship process is often a test to see if one's partner would make a proper parent. If a partner cannot give more than she receives, how will she care for a child? Considering all this, it's silly to paint the normal, healthy partner as the problem. If one partner is giving more than they're receiving, they aren't the problem. The taker is. Relationships are about giving. The invested party upheld their end of the bargain. In our materialistic society, we understand this concept when it is a business venture but not a relational one. The giver is the one who is there for the right reasons. Our society's criticism of giving on a general level allows victims to be painted as the issue. And if these victims were so self-negating, codependent, and stupid, they wouldn't need to be lied to in the first place, nor would they be seeking solutions for the relationship. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.